Phone's on silent.
Okay, love. Hello, everybody. Sorry I'm late. I've literally just run from the train station in the pouring rain here in the wet UK. I could say today. Left it was nice and sunny. And now it's raining. Sorry I've kept you all waiting. I know some of you said, thought we were coming on at 8, but it is 8:30. So, yeah, just spread the word. Let me just share it around that I am live. I've got a big bag full of cool science stuff that'll be going online auction. So carting that thing around is not easy. Let's go like this. I don't watch myself live, but I do want to share it. Copy. Go here. Go here. How are you all doing? Busy weekend, great weekend watching Mugello. It was absolutely fantastic. Join in talking MotoGP Mugello live. Now, here is link. So paste. Yeah, so let me just do some catching up here. Gareth HB, Michael McDougall, Justin DP. Yeah, Justin, 8:30 we started. Johan van Deventer. Yeah, thanks, Johan, for just telling everyone that my flight's delayed, but we are now live. Just make sure everyone's in here. Evening, Rob, can't wait for all the news you have to share with us. What an amazing race weekend. Yvonne Pretorius. Yvonne, yeah, it was absolutely awesome. Jonathan Borg, good evening. Hey, Jonathan, go check out Jonathan's Facebook page as well. It's MotoGP News. Maybe Jonathan just share a link with everyone here. He's got a very cool Facebook page. He's got some good inside sources. He's quite a reliable source. So anything you see on his page is generally pretty accurate, most of the time. Pretty accurate. So yeah, Jonathan, thank you for joining us. Vince Ramsey, Andrew Walker. Andrew, how are you doing? Distig, how's it, guys? How you Distig? I can see you guys have already had a little bit of a conversation with regards to Costa and KTM and Darren and what's he doing and his contract. And no. Did struggle with rear grip when running, Rob. No, I'm fine. Don't worry, I've made it. Haven't eaten my supper or had anything yet, but I'll rather join you guys, and we've got a lot to talk about. I can see Jonathan Borg's been very busy at telling you all the latest and greatest news with regards to Miguel Oliveira and everyone. So, yeah, let's just start with Mugello. Never been to Mugello in my life. Rocked up to the track on the Wednesday with Darren. I flew into Bologna, waited a couple of hours, and then he came out as my Uber driver and drove to the track with him. It was about an hour and a half drive, just over an hour drive from Bologna to Mugello. Got to the track, and yeah, it's just completely different to what you see on TV. Every track I've been to so far just is completely different to what you see on TV. Got into Mugello, got this big like red helmet at the gate. You get into the paddock, and it's just up and down from the access roads to the track. And I couldn't believe the elevation. You on TV you can see a little bit of the rise, but it's nothing. It's nothing to what you see when in real life. The elevation is just incredible. The ups and downs, it's madness. But beautiful place, right in the Tuscan Hills. When they say that, it literally is. It's like planted in the middle of this beautiful forest. I took the opportunity to walk around like the kind of camper van spectators path that they've got that goes all the way around the track, and you just walk in this beautiful forest, and in between some of the trees, and that you can see parts of the track, and then you can walk to the embankment and have a watch. It really is fan friendly when it comes to viewing spots. You can literally go anywhere, sit on an embankment, and you see like 2 or 3 corners at a time. It's a good one if you can't get into the paddock, because some tracks are a bit restricted when it comes to viewing points, and you literally see a turn or 2 turns or 3 turns if you're lucky. But Mugello was really fan friendly. No big massive buildings blocking anything. That's probably my biggest complaint about Kyalami, if we do ever get a MotoGP or World Superbike again at Kyalami, is the viewing points. there's a couple of buildings in that blocking, so you would see good viewer spots on the embankments and that around the track, but nothing like this Mugello. It was just, I could just, as you walk in, you could just feel the energy, feel the history, feel the passion, feel the everything that is Mugello. And I was walking around the track, looking at some of the corners, just remembering, all the classic things that have happened at Mugello. And yeah, you get those chills, the hairs on your neck and your arms just stand up. Mugello really just grabs your attention. I called it the Cathedral of Speed. I know Assen is called the Cathedral of Speed. Mark Clift, I know Assen is the Cathedral of Speed, but for me, Mugello is, because it's the Cathedral of Speed. It's just the fastest track on the calendar with that long straight. And we've renamed it the Cathedral of Valentino. That's what Richard Smith, my good mate from Cressini, has renamed it. Let's just do some hellos here. Luis Falcao, hey Rob, thanks for doing this. Super keen to get some news on Darren. Yeah, we'll probably start there just now. I'm sure a lot of you are wanting to know about that. Vickers Alberts, hey Rob, hey Vickers. Mariska Hutchinson, hey Rob, wonderful to have you. Have one of these after the great weekend we had. Yeah, that's why I was just rushing to get you and not delay it for tomorrow night, because I'm still excited. I've still got my fanboy cap on. It's the best time to talk about it. Rob, why did Daz cut off that beautiful hair? Well, Yvonne, it found him some time. I don't know if it was weighing him down or no. Just keep it neat and tidy. He still got long hair. I could tell you now, after every session, he's got to pull out this massive, like a horse brush, the horsetail brush to brush his hair. It's the funniest thing. I must try and record it while he's not watching one day. But no, he still looks beautiful with his not so long hair, but it's still kind of long. Vince Ramsey, hey Rob, any inside scoop on Daz possibilities for next year? I'll start there now. JLK, how's it, Rob? Dathanius, hi Uncle Rob, how you doing? Rogan Taylor, hey Rogan, hope you're keeping well and warm in a wet UK, as I've just realized now, arriving at Ian Jefferson, how you man? Natalie Mayring, hey Rob, thanks for all the info and updates you give us. At my absolute pleasure, I absolutely love it. Hello from Hartswater, Van A. Rasmus, Brink Heineman, how's it, Rob and MRW fans? Tafik Ojar, I never know how to say that. Love this session. Tafik, thank you so much for joining us. So yeah, let's jump straight into the Darren news. Obviously the big news that came out on Friday, and I could sense something was happening, not so much the Wednesday because I didn't see Razlan and the whole RNF team, but Thursday, spent the time at the track again, and yeah, this news was just, starting to get more and more real. Before then, it was all speculation. It was all, everything that I've given you and that you've seen is what I knew, is that RNF were potentially going to move to Aprilia. Thursday, again, it just kind of rumbled, and one or two guys were saying, it's nothing. There was no talk about this news breaking on the Friday, but there was talk on the Thursday that, yeah, this is definitely going to happen. They don't know when. Okay. Friday, the news breaks that RNF are switching from Yamaha to Aprilia. And, there's a lot of reasons behind this. Lynn Jarvis came out and said he was completely surprised. I still walked past him and he was talking to someone and I could hear him saying, yeah, we just didn't expect this decision. And which I kind of think is, surely Razlan is professional enough not to just wake up on Friday morning and cancel his deal with Yamaha. That they would have known. But there's a couple of reasons why this has happened. Obviously, I think the main reason from Razlan's side is the last 2 years, he had Fabio and Franco, which was his dream team, Petronas, and everything was great in the world. Then after Fabio left for the factory team, obviously Razlan still stayed on MotoGP Unlimited, that Rossi wasn't his first choice. Obviously, they would take him because of the prestige that is Rossi and that, but he was kind of dumped with Rossi in the Petronas team, to be honest. And we all know what happened there. Things didn't go too well. Although they had this high-profile rider, they just didn't get the results, and Razlan wants results. So he wasn't too happy about that. And then Franco was kind of taken. Yamaha forced their hand there and took Franco from them as well. And then for this year, 2022, Razlan made the decision for Darren because, he said he always likes to have a young, hungry rider. And someone still pointed it out, that the Moto3 and the Moto2 teams kind of folded away after the whole Petronas deal fell away. Darren potentially had a Moto2 deal signed. They couldn't put him there, so they just thought, let's take him to MotoGP. And good or bad, they would get publicity out of it. And, Darren is a fast rider. quite a tall, one of the bigger riders, and would fit on a big bike well. We'll get more into that just now. So, and then on the other side of that, Razlan was now dumped with, in many people's terms, another slow old Italian rider in Andrea Dovizioso, who was, again, Razlan did not want that. He wanted a completely different rider. So I think that was a big factor in it, that Razlan just sat down and went, okay, well, at what point do I get to choose this? And I think Yamaha just had him like this. Yamaha and Lynn just had him like this, like, listen, you get bikes, just shush, we pay the riders' salaries, which works for RNF, but at the same time, it's Razlan's team, and I don't think he had as much say as he wanted. You can see the developments not coming from Yamaha's side. There's no working relationship, I think, there as much as Razlan would have wanted. Then there was talk, with Aprilia doing so well, that, hey, we're keen to sign a satellite team. And I think as soon as Razlan heard that, I think he very smartly got on the phone and said, you know what, let me turn my cap because I'm busy shadowing my face here. Let me just take it off. Got my Brad cap on. Let me put it back on because I look terrible. So yeah, the Aprilia deal came about, and I think Razlan jumped at that because the bikes are performing. I think he'll get a little bit more support from Aprilia, but there's also some pros and cons of this. Pros being that the Aprilia is really working. They seem to have got it right, although it's just working kind of like a Yamaha thing. It's working in the hands of a Leish, and a little bit now and then in the hands of Maverick. But you can't really take anything from Maverick these days. It's just hot and cold. You just don't know. Maverick's just a big question mark. And I think nothing against Alessio Spargo, fantastic rider, but I think if he could be doing what he's doing on that Aprilia, I think others could do that, match that, and if not better. So yeah, I think it's a great move from Razlan. The talk, and it was weird because on Friday morning I saw Razlan early come out and he was just wearing a With You shirt, no other branding on it. And it was like, hey Razlan, oh yeah, you made good. And I didn't even put two and two together then. And Wilco as well, just With You. And I was like, oh, okay, I didn't even put two and two together there. And only once the deal had come out, which completely caught me by surprise. I was not expecting anything, to be honest. Then I was like, gee, that makes sense. Now I saw them this morning and they didn't have any Yamaha anything on. Okay, so it makes sense. The talk now that I've heard a couple of situations is that they're looking at, because I said to Razlan when I saw him, I said, hey, well done, man, awesome. He said, yeah, it's a big, it's a huge headache and a weight off his shoulders because it's been such a deal and such a process to get going. So he's looking forward to just, chilling for the rest of that Friday and just relaxing because it really was a big thing. And then I said, yeah, well, you've got another headache now and trying to choose riders. And he said, yeah, that's another big headache. So the options, as far as I can tell from what I've heard within the paddock, and Jonathan will probably, he's also pretty clued up when it comes to the information coming out the paddock, is Alex Rins potentially as kind of the fast rider in the team. And then the other option is Salvadori, who's the Aprilia test rider, who Aprilia would look at putting in that second seat to use as a test rider in race situations. So cool, go race the bike, but we're very much going to use it as development to better the overall package. Alex Rins, you go for race wins. Salvadori, do your best, but ultimately we're going to be chopping and changing, and you're a glorified test rider in race conditions, because race conditions is the best time to test and find out if things work. So that's the one scenario. The other scenario is that Tony Arbolino from Moto2, Italian rider, Italian sponsor With You, Italian bike. They're potentially looking at him. And another rider, Celestino Vietti, has been another name mentioned as an Italian rider coming into that team. Rubens Rinaldi from World Superbikes was there again this weekend. He was at a res. He was there again, hanging out in the RNF setup this weekend. I can't see why Razlan would take Ruben Rinaldi. No disrespect to him, but his World Superbike results don't really, put his CV higher than anyone else's. So I don't know if that's just a friend of the team. I know he's good friends with Dovi and Dovi's manager and stuff. So I don't know if that's just a general hangout or what, but that could possibly be a move. And then, of course, there is Darren. Darren is, I have no information. I cannot tell you if he has signed, if he hasn't signed. Like I said earlier in one of my chats, I do think he will be in the paddock next year, whether it's Moto2, MotoGP, I don't know. I do think Darren is in the running for one of those Aprilia seats, to be honest, especially after this weekend, the brilliant ride that he put on to that 16th place. We'll get more into that now. So I definitely do think Darren's name is in the running for that. So I know Simon Crayford put some stuff out, and a couple of other people just saying Darren's days are numbered with Suzuki pulling out. There's too many other FOS riders that are, without seats, and Darren's just getting bumped down the order. And in some ways, I agree with that, but in others, it's not the case at all. Darren, in many ways, has proved himself well worthy of that MotoGP ride. So before I get into his amazing race weekend, let's have a look at some comments. Stephen Berry, glad that you could join us. I wanted to get Stephen in to join us as a guest tonight, but he's got load shedding potentially and so we can't take chances there just yet. But we'll get Stephen on soon. There's no doubt about that. Sure, now there's a lot of comments. I'm going all the way back. There we go. Hey, Rob Hardy. 30% battery. Let's see how this goes. Stephen Berry. Okay. Rob, do you think Mark will see out his season contract? Johan VD. I forgot your surname now. Van Deventer, is it? Sorry, Johan, I'm like exhausted. But we'll talk about Mark Marquez. There's lots to talk about there as well. Hey, Rob, Utrons. Via the UK or getting ready for Spain. So Heidi, I've come back to the UK and then I fly back to Catalonia Friday for Catalonia MotoGP weekend this weekend. So very excited. Got a digital magazine to finish off this week and all kinds of stuff. Mariska Hutchison, any talks of Honda getting a replacement for Mark for the rest of 2022? So yeah, Mariska, as Shane Foley said, Bradle will probably just step in there. If RNS does not stay with their project as they are crazy, I agree with you, Vade Erasmus. Rob, quick question. Is there any reason why the Binder Babes don't wear any team kit? JLK. I'm not too sure, but I don't think it's necessary that they have to. They like to wear their pretty outfits and look pretty, but I can tell you they're the most supportive girlfriends on the planet. Courtney is there for Brad no matter what. And Zan is there for Darren no matter what. It's great to see. It's great. The support that they give them is incredible. That's why they go to all the races with them, because they really are a great backbone to have for both the riders there. Jonathan, Rob, one more small thing about Yamaha's second team. Both RNF and even Tech 3 before them had to pay for everything till the last bolt. No help from Yamaha imposed to other factories, i.e. Ducati, KTM, Honda. Jonathan, thank you. Yeah, that is another reason why Razlan also just said, well, we lease bikes, but the support just wasn't there as much as Razlan wanted. It's as simple as that. Cloud Matthews, how everyone thought it was 8:45. It is, but you haven't missed that much, Cloud. We've just literally climbed into this whole RNF debate. How it was announced that they were the Aprilia and the possible riders. I've mentioned that Rins, Arbolino from Moto2, Vietti are possibilities, and of course Darren as well. Good evening, Uncle Rob. Nicole, how are you, Nicole? Hope you're doing well. Yamaha and Honda historically are the bikes to have. Jonathan, yes. Evening, Rob. I thought it was. Let me just have a look here. How was that walk up to the Ixon shop, Ian? Yeah, it was excruciating. Ray Hendy, Vietti on Aprilia. Yeah, so VR46 obviously won't have space in their Mooney team because they've got Marini and Bezzecchi pretty much signed up. So, and I know they would probably look at bumping Vietti if there is a spot open into that team. Razlan might invite it because there'll be some VR46 money coming in there potentially. I'm pretty sure Razlan will be looking at riders that come with something. Darren will come with the talent. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, look, it's a business. It's a business game. It's a money game at the end of the day. So it has to be taken into consideration. Obviously, Razlan likes to have the really established, not as established as Rossi and Dovi. And when I'm, like a Rins, I could see how a Rins could interest Razlan, although he's. He's won races in that, but has he proven himself as a worthy seasoned rider? I don't think so yet. Paulo Spargro's up for grabs, another Spanish rider. I don't know about that. Toprak Razgadioglu is now available after Yamaha. There's no space for him to go to MotoGP with Yamaha anymore after the RNF deal fell through. There's a couple of riders. There's talk of an American rider that wants to come into MotoGP. Cambodia, Joe Roberts. Joe Roberts seems to have found some form. Could he come with his American passport? So there's so many possibilities. Salvador too slow. I agree with you that Salvador is too slow, but maybe the clause with Aprilia is one fast rider and you have to take Salvador as a test rider. I don't know. I can't see Razlan doing that, to be honest, especially after everything he's gone through with Rossi and Dovina. I can't see him doing that. I think Razlan wants to make his own choice up with his own riders and see how that goes. Let's have a look here. Yep, Aprilia leaning towards Randy. 6 fastest time. Yeah, so let's talk about Darren's race and why he deserves a shot at another year in MotoGP. So leading up to Mugello, yeah, the results haven't been great, but I've said it all along. Don't necessarily look at the results. You've got to look deeper than that. You've got to look at lap times, top speeds, sectors and stuff. And Jerez, there were glimpses of brilliance. We saw what he did in Thailand in the rain. Fantastic. Kota, he did battle. It was a very tricky circuit. Portimao did battle a little bit, although showed 1 or 2 glimpses there. Le Mans really battled, just the narrow track and always on the brake. Said he just didn't have a good feeling with the front always folding. But so yeah, he battled there. Came into Mugello. Now, this is the crazy thing with MotoGP. Mugello, fastest track on the calendar, 360 k's an hour down the straight. One would think when you're stepping up from Moto 2, or in Darren's case, from Moto 3, where he did 241 k's an hour the year before, stepping onto a MotoGP bike doing 350 odd k's an hour, that would be the biggest thing to learn and to get used to, is handling that speed. And straight off the bat, I mean, I think on his 3rd or 4th lap in FP1 on Friday, Darren was like one of the top riders at 354 k's an hour. DJ Antonio qualified pole. Bezzecchi was fast. So it's not the speed that necessarily these riders have to adapt to. And speaking to Darren and Brad about it, it's handling the speed is the easy part actually of a MotoGP bike. It's handling the Le Mans, the tight, twisty tracks with not a lot of room to play with, and you're constantly on the brakes and trusting the Michelin front, and under hard braking and dealing with the electronics in that way. When it's open, fast, and flowing, and I said before the Mugello weekend, I really can see a Darren doing well in Mugello, because it's almost Moto 3 style, where you've just got to let go of the brake and carry this corner speed. And it worked perfectly for Darren, Bezzecchi, DJ Antonio, who, that's what you do on Moto 2 and Moto 3 bikes. You carry the speed and let go of the brake and go. And Darren proved it again on race day, 358.8 kilometers, tied second top speed of the weekend. From Moto 3, just think about this, Moto 3 9 months ago at the same track, 241 k's an hour, to MotoGP 358.8 k's an hour. Commitment. That in itself is brilliant, but he backed it up. Friday, the weekend just started off really well for Darren. Friday, he had his best Friday so far in MotoGP. Wasn't that far off, was setting great sectors, was really, really doing well. First session, he kind of tagged Remy a bit. And in a way, I kind of said, okay, well, listen, I don't like this tagging Remy, because I think, it might teach you some bad habits. I think you're faster than that. But again, it's get comfortable. Remy was kind of a target within his target range. And we quickly found, okay, that was cool for FP1, but we've kind of outgrown Remy now. On to the next, which was Franco. He tried with Quartararo, and Quartararo still got that little bit of speed. So, it just pulls away, then you lose that toe, and you kind of in no man's land. So, we kind of, and I still kind of looked at it, was make Frankie the donkey, with a carrot there, because I think he's within reach. And he's on the same motorcycle as you. So, whether Darren took that as the plan or not, I don't know, but it looked like it, and he just chipped away. FP1, FP2, fantastic Friday, brilliant start to the weekend. While there's FP2, in fact, I was sitting in the pit box with the team while Darren was out, and 10 minutes in or whatever, Darren gets a red helmet for sector 1, which means you're setting a faster sector 1. And I just I got so excited. I didn't even take a photo. I wanted to take a photo, but I got so excited. Us and the team were like, it wasn't like this, joyous thing, because it's just a red helmet in FP2. So, try and keep calm. But it was just like a, yes, it was just another, go on, my son, there we go. Good job. Rookie with a red helmet. Take it. It's a red helmet in MotoGP. Take it. Anyway, great day. And people forget, jumping forward, with his race performance, he had 3 dry sessions. So he had 60 laps of dry time to learn that track, because FP4 was pretty much a waste with the damn conditions. Qualifying was pretty much a waste with damn conditions. So he had 3 dry sessions to do what he did on race day and beat guys like Dovi and Franco and Savadori and Pirro and Remy and Raul, who have had all this big bike experience and Mugello experience. And Darren's climbed from a Moto3 bike onto the worst bike and the worst Yamaha on the grid, and he's destroyed them. So you got to look at that kind of thing. Anyway, qualifying, he had the crash. I don't want to even delve too much into that crash. He crashed under a yellow flag. The team showed all the data to the race direction that he was slowed. He was cruising something. He hit something in the track, and that's why he crashed. He didn't crash under the yellow because he was pushing hard. But anyway, he got the penalty. That's just where it is. We can debate that all day. It happened. So he got his long lap penalty. Qualified 20th ahead of Dovi, Morbidelli, all those guys. Cool. The game plan, get a good start. He still said, as soon as when I launch past Brad, I'm just gonna like wave at him as I go by. It was like awesome. Brad phoned him just before the race in the hospital and said, how you feeling in that? And then Darren said, well, I'm gonna come, walking past you on the start. I'll see you on the brakes. It was great to hear the banter between those two. Anyway, little did Darren know that Brad was going to get one of his best starts ever in MotoGP and get himself from 16th to 7th or 10th into turn 1 and then up to 7th. So, but Darren also had a phenomenal start. You go back and watch, again, they don't show, closer to the back, which is a pity, but you see that first lap, you get glimpses of Darren right up there. Like he really was right up there. Got the message on his board that he could have the long lap penalty, and he did his long lap and still came in. Did his long lap, still came in front of Dovi and just behind, I think, Remy or someone. But anyway, the second lap of the race gets a tow from Jorge Martin down the front straight, and Darren was really good coming onto that front straight all weekend. He just carried the pace and had really good drive. And Darren's one of the fastest Yamahas on the time on the overall speed charts because he's able to tuck in from his Moto3 days. The team just say he just tucks everything in. The other riders maybe set up like a Dobby's a bit more old school, and Darren just gets everything in from being a bigger rider in Moto3. He just tucks in nicely. Great, 358.8 k's an hour, and slipstreaming Martin, who did 362 whatever k's an hour it was. So anyway, fantastic from Daz. We all know what happened after that. Daz was just consistently fast. End of the race, he finished 20 seconds off the win. So that's less than a second off every lap because it was a 23, 24 lap race. Okay, so Darren was under a second faster than the greatest riders in the world. Pecco Bagnaia on his Ducati, the fastest bike, the best bike on the grid, at a track that he knows and loves. Darren was 20 seconds behind, which in itself is a feather in the cap. Great job. Go watch the last 5-6 laps. Darren was on average 0.2, 0.3, no more than half a second off the leading time for the last 5 laps. So Darren was lapping top 5 pace within the last 5 laps. Another feather in the cap. Kudos. So that is what the paddock look at. The results don't, or yes, it was 16th. And why are we getting so excited about 16th? Because not even a point. Forget the point, forget the 16th. Look at all that information. And that, once you analyze it and go through it, and Simon Crayford did it himself, gave Darren praise. Once you've analyzed all that, Darren gets just ticks all weekend long. Ticks. He had the one crash where he hit something and went down. That was unfortunate. But other than that, a brilliant professional weekend from Darren, whose work ethic was brilliant. Even when he got the long lap penalty, that devastating news, with the letter, he didn't let it get in. He used it as motivation. Top marks from Darren Binder. And after the race, saw him come in and went well done, and Razlan was just glowing. He was like happy because Darren's got Frankie. That's a big thing. We've just told Yamaha to get this, and we've beaten their second rider. So that I could see. No point again, but that in itself was 25 points, being the second Yamaha across the line. Third rookie overall behind Bezzecchi and DJ Antonio on their Ducatis. So it was a brilliant job all around from Darren. Milko Zeelenberg was happy. The whole team were just happy. Kudos to him. And to the whole team who also just carried on working. His crew chief is fantastic, kept working, starting to understand the information more, starting to understand Darren's information more. So it's just this building progress now, and I think they're going to take it into Catalonia and start with small steps again. And I think Catalonia, we know Darren's really likes that place. He picked up his first Moto3 win there on the CRP bike. I think it's going to be another great weekend for Darren. So for sure, Darren is in the running for maybe not even just a Aprilia ride with RNF, maybe some other rides, because there are plenty rides up for grabs, and we'll delve into that a little bit more. So that's the RNF weekend. Absolutely loved the weekend, being part of it once again with the team, with Darren. Loved dealing with the Arad guys, Marcel from Arad doing Darren's helmet. Loved the team from Revit doing the leathers and everything. Just, yeah, a great weekend hanging out with Darren, Zan, Brad, Courts. Bjorn Esmond was there with his girlfriend Sarah. It was just a great weekend seeing all the guys in the paddock. Richard Smith from Cressini, who I stayed with. Big thanks to him for driving me around and accommodating me. To Gordon and the team from Pole Position Travel for having me. I was lucky enough to host their guests evening on the Friday night, talking to all their guests. We did a one-on-one chat with Roche Moodley, who also raced in the Red Bull Rookies Cup on the weekend. South African star. Unfortunately, didn't have a great weekend. Crashed out of race 1 in the rain, and in race 2 picked up 18th place. But again, it's part of the school of hard knocks that is the MotoGP paddock. The only way you're going to improve your riding skills in the rain is by riding in the rain more. Only way you're going to learn not to crash in the rain is by crashing in the rain and figuring that out. So it's a learning process for Roche. I know they were bitterly disappointed with the weekend, but they've got Brad and Darren there to support them. They've got all of us to support them. Brad and Darren also didn't have fantastic results in Red Bull Rookies all of the time. So it's a stepping stone, and they must just keep their heads, and no doubt that they will be there for sure. Just go to see if we can close off the RNF thing. And Darren, really hope Daz makes the cut for Aprilia. Yep. That's a good question. Have any Moto2 teams reached out to Daz? Rogan Taylor. So Rogan, as I said, I have no doubt that Bob was there on the weekend and went out for supper with him last night. And Bob Moore is one of, if not the top manager in the paddock. He deals with a lot of riders. He's Brad's manager as well. He knows the paddock, speaks fluent Italian, so he really is just the best guy to have in Darren's corner. And I have no doubt that if it's not a MotoGP ride, as I said, Darren will be in the paddock next year. He deserves the MotoGP ride after what he's done from the jump from Moto3 to MotoGP. That was never going to work in many people's eyes, and it's worked on so many levels. On some levels, yeah, sure, it hasn't with the results in Le Mans and the disappointments, but in so many levels it has, and it's still a long way for the season. The potential's there for Darren. I think he's already proven that, and proven with more time, it's only going to get better. So Darren will be in the MotoGP paddock next year, whether it's Moto2, MotoGP. I have no doubt Moto2 teams are knocking on their door. There's plenty of teams that want him, but MotoGP is where we all want to see Darren be, and certainly main priority for Darren, Brad, Bob, his spot, everyone. They want to keep Darren in MotoGP. So when I can tell you that behind the scenes they are working hard to make that happen, you believe me when I say that they are working hard to make that happen. Rogan Taylor, Daz on a Repsol Honda. I don't know if we would want Daz to go to Repsol Honda. I don't think anyone wants to go to Repsol Honda at the moment. I think Jean Mier's looking at this going, well, that's my only option. Do I really have to go? Because it's just, let's talk about Repsol Honda quickly before we get into anything else. A huge crash ball from the weekend. I mean, Marc Marquez's bike on fire, front end ripped out. From what was actually, it was a small crash, slow speed crash, but just shows you how violently that bike whipped Marc Marquez and slammed to the ground and burst in flames. And anyway, then Paul Espargaro in the race, another big crash that Honda went tumbling. So a terrible weekend for Honda. As for Mark, that special press conference, I think was called after that crash. I think Mark is struggling with feeling in his wrist, and he probably just went out and lost feeling and maybe got on the gas too soon and he high-sided. But I just think Mugello would have highlighted that injury even more, and he just doesn't look happy. I've said it the whole year, even when he's signing autographs and that you can see he's putting on a brave face, but he's not a happy man. And rightfully so. You go from Marc Marquez unbeatable, unstoppable, unbreakable to this vulnerable Marc Marquez that we're seeing now. The Honda situation is not helping him. Riding motorbike that is just, not working for anyone. It's just so inconsistent. It just doesn't work. That doesn't help your cause. I'm pretty sure he's having sleepless nights, which doesn't help with training and energy. I think there is a bit of depression there. There has to be, because you cannot go from that status to where you are and not, feel a bit of depression and disappointment. And I think the best decision was to just, call it. Just listen. We can't continue like this. Marc Marquez doesn't want to finish in 10th and 5th and 6th and get toes. I mean, the fact that he hangs around to get toes for qualifying, and that just shows you that the real Marc Marquez is not there, and it's damaged goods in many ways. So the best thing is just to take it off. Whether we will see him back, I don't know. Let's see how good the surgeon is in America that he's going to fix his arm. But I think it's more than the arm. The arm is a big player in the whole situation. But there's the double vision thing, and that all just plays. Then it's with that comes the sleepless nights, the depression, the whatever else. And this is just me speculating. I'm not saying that this is what is happening and that he's popping pills and stuff. But I just think it's a roll-on effect. I just think Mark is just in an unhappy place, and you can see it. Even when the camera's on him, it's not this wave and smile. It's just this. Even when he did the press conference with Puig, Puig was doing the talking, and Mark was just looked like a defeated man. I think Puig and Honda have handled the situation terribly. I think Puig is probably the worst thing for Marc Marquez in his career at the moment, to be honest. And it was very much a case of stop now, and there's a chance that you can get a couple more years of riding, or carry on, and there's a chance that you'll never ride a motorbike again. I think that was really the options. I was surprised that he even did Mugello, to be honest. You make that announcement that you're clearly not in it, you're suffering physically, mentally, everything, and you go race the fastest track on the MotoGP calendar. I think that was a bit of a risk, but you could see he was not cruising around to finish. You don't cruise around in MotoGP to finish 10th, but he certainly wasn't, so I don't even think he was at 70, 80% in that race, to be honest. So it's going to be a long road for Marc Marquez. Stefan Bradl will take the seat and carry on for the rest of the year, no doubt. I don't know. It's a tricky one. I look at it, and, 2 months ago, people were saying Marc Marquez that could be over retired. No, never, man. I could see it happening now. I could see him coming back, obviously, and the surgery going well, and just the time off being the best thing, and coming back stronger than ever. We certainly won't see the Marc Marquez, the 8-time world champion Marc Marquez. I don't think we'll ever see that again. The MotoGP paddocks just become too competitive and too cutthroat for that now. And that's why he also needs this break, because he's got to get himself on the level of these other guys, and so do Honda. It's a two-way street. There's no doubt about that. And Joan Mir has got to be looking at this going, well, in some ways it might be a good thing, because he's going to go into the team potentially as the number one rider if Marquez is still this inconsistent question mark. Joan might have all the focus, but what other choice does Joan have? Does Joan pick Repsol Honda over a Cressini Ducati or Pramac Ducati potentially, or the other options? There's so many things that can happen in terms of riders, and I think it all boils down to what Fabio Quartararo does. If Quartararo signs with Yamaha, then the likes of Oliveira potentially go to Pramac Ducati in place of Zarco, or Cressini Ducati in place of Bastianini, who then goes to the factory team, and if Fabio does the unthinkable and jumps ship to Ducati next to Pecco Bagnaia, and Ducati have this. If you don't win the championship with those two, then you're never going to win a championship again. Then Oliveira goes to the factory Yamaha team, or Toprak comes to the factory Yamaha team, but leave that space open. And then the Jack Miller saga, from my point of view, I think, judging by what came out this weekend with KTM saying to Miguel Oliveira that we have a space for you, but it's with the Tech 3 team for next year, which I think is a complete slap in the face, to be honest. Even though the Tech 3 team is a full factory team, it's the exact same bikes that Brad and Miguel ride. So in a way, it's a demotion, but in a way, it's not, because it's effectively the same team, and you're riding the same bike, and you get the same everything. But I think Miguel is I think he's just got to the point of no return with KTM. I think he wants to move. I think he will be moving, from what I've heard in the paddock, through some resources, and just from what I see. I don't think you have to be Albert Einstein to see that Miguel's not happy and he wants to leave. So the options I see for Miguel is the factory Yamaha. If Fabio doesn't go there, LCR Honda is another option. I know Taka Nakagami is pretty much out of that team, so there's 2 spots open at LCR, potentially Miguel and well, I say 2 spots, potentially Alex Marquez, who I think for some ridiculous reason might keep that seat in LCR. If he does, then either Miguel will go there. We might see Zarco go there. Zarco's done 1 or 2 wildcard rides there a couple of years ago after he left KTM. Alex Rins could go to LCR Honda. So there's so many variables, and it changes from race to race. Every single race you go to, you think you've got it sussed, and the rumors just change. Everything just changes. So this is there's so much up in the air at the moment. One thing that is for certain is there's not enough bikes for the amount of riders that are available. The Honda Asia team coming in with 2 more Hondas, I can see happening. I think Honda wanted to happen for more development, more information from 2 riders in the form of Chantra and Ayagura. Ayagura certainly looks like a real top talent. Chantra, is he ready for the move up yet? I wouldn't say so. Maybe Nakagami keeps that ride because, of the Idemitsu tie-in and the Honda Asia tie-in. So Agura and Nakagami, who's got the MotoGP experience, give Chantra another year in Moto2. You want a fast rider in your Honda Asia Moto2 team as well, if you keep that. If they don't keep the Moto2 project, then I can see them taking Chantra to MotoGP because they don't want to leave him behind. He's one of their blue-eyed boys. But then you've got Paulo Spargo, massive question mark. Alex Rins, massive question mark. Where are these guys going to go? Toprak, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know if he'll even consider MotoGP now that there's not a Yamaha spot open for him. Will he consider a Repsol Honda with his tie-ins, where he can go there with Red Bull, keep his Red Bull sponsorship, and go to Repsol Honda and replace Mark if Mark calls time on it, or if Mir doesn't want to go there and Mir decides to go to a Pramac Ducati or something. Then the other problem is you've got the likes of Vietti, Arbolino, not so much Pedro Acosta, but Vietti, Arbolino, and Canet that want to come up from Moto2. So, there's too many riders and not enough bikes. What I can also tell you, almost 100% fact, is that KTM are not happy with Raul Fernandez and Remy Gardner, with their attitude towards the paddock. It really is. It's almost it's not a good relationship. It's like acid. Those 2 riders at the moment. Remy has said, I want out. I'll go to World Superbikes if they don't want to re-sign me. Raul has just said he's hating life. And it's a very toxic relationship there at the moment. That I can tell you for a fact. So at this point, I actually can't see both of them staying, which then leaves Raul Fernandez, who Yamaha have wanted for so long and was going to be an option for the second or for the factory Yamaha seat in the RNF team. Well, now, Yamaha chased him for so long. Now he might be available. Where do you put him? If Fabio goes, cool, maybe there, which I don't think is a fantastic move. But if Fabio stays, where does Raul go now? Now Raul Fernandez has burnt his bridges almost with KTM. Didn't want to go to MotoGP with KTM in the first place. Burnt his bridges there. Where does he go? Does he go to LCR Honda? Do LCR, take him? He no doubt is a fantastic rider and has the talent. It just hasn't worked out with KTM. But there's another name that's open. Remy Gardner, I don't think there'll be too many people knocking on his door to fill a MotoGP ride, to be honest. I could see him going to World Superbikes. I could see he just hasn't done enough there. So, there's all those possibilities, but there will be a big shake-up in KTM. I think we know Brad is a certainty. I think Jack Miller will be joining Brad next year. I think that's almost a done deal, to be honest, and that's just what I can make out of all of it and what I feel. Nothing's been confirmed yet or said, but I think that will happen. And then there's the 2 Tech 3 rides open. But again, who wants to go there? Who really wants to take that risk to go to this KTM that, you just got to fight every weekend in, week out? Speaking of KTM, obviously Brad Binder did a fantastic job, struggled the whole weekend with the balance of the bike. Preheated tires that weren't working. Just they had new aero. They were trying to set up the aero. He just really battled. I mean, we saw qualified 16th, and it was just this battle. There was a glimpse in FP1 and FP2 again, but we've seen this so many times. Brad and the KTM are able to get this much out of a new soft tire. I mean, Brad did it on day one. FP2 went to 7th and posted a good time. Then in FP3, dry FP3 went backwards, went 0.2, 0.1 slower. So the biggest argument, and we saw it in the race, the biggest problem for Brad and the KTM at the moment is they just can't get anything more out of new Michelin tires. They just can't make the maximum out of new Michelin tires. And in the race, he got a great start, started well, got up to 10th, then fought his way to 7th, then kind of dropped back a bit. Then towards the end of the race, came again. On used tires, last 5, whatever laps it was, Brad was the fastest rider on track. And he can make those used tires work. They just can't get enough out of the package when it's on new tires, whether it's just gripping. It's already got so much mechanical grip, the KTM, because of the rigid, unforgiving, stiff WP suspension, this beam frame that's a mix of trellis and whatever else. It's already this rigid package. So when you add all this grip now from a Michelin front and a Michelin rear, it's almost like this, when you want to put two magnets together, positive, it fights each other. There's just too much mechanical grip, and it's just fighting against each other. As soon as that grip kind of releases itself and Brad can slide the bike a bit more and be a bit more in control, that's when Brad can use the best out of the KTM. So that is the problem. There's just too much, and this has been a problem for the last couple of years. I've heard Brad and KTM talk about it. We've just got too much mechanical grip from this motorcycle, and it makes sense. Take two magnets and positive to positive, and they'll just resist each other. So that is what's happening at KTM at the moment. Having said that, Brad again just does the Sunday man thing and pulls it out the bag. 16th to 7th, fantastic ride. Couple more laps, he would have potentially been top 5. He caught up to Marini, and a fantastic job by Brad again. Just never lets anything. I saw him before the race, went in, said good luck, and he's just, I've got a plan. I know what needs to be done. I know what direction we need to go, and he's just never phased. He's just a gladiator, is our Brad, and he pulled it off again. More championship points. Great result, 7th, but it's not where Brad belongs. With all due respect to Gigi Antonio, Bastianini, Alicia Spargro, all these riders, Brad is a step above them in my mind, and in many people's mind in the paddock. So he should be winning races. He's certainly on Pecco's level. There's no doubt about it. He's certainly on Quartararo's level. There's no doubt about it. So he should be with those guys. So yeah, 7th is great, and we can celebrate it. 16th to 7th, brilliant. Well done, Brad. You've again pulled off, a Herculean effort, but you should be fighting for top 5s and top 3s minimum. And they need to sort that package out to give him that opportunity to do it work week in, week out. Ian Jefferson, you did a proper job on those T6 boots. I did. So Darren had that crash, came back, it was all graveled out, took his suit to Revit. Revit are amazing. So he's one arm was damaged. They cut that piece of the arm, replaced that piece of the arm, replaced all the badges. They literally replaced panels of what needs to be done. Darren was complaining that the left shoulder was a bit tight in the session. I took the suit to Revit. They put like this pump airbag system that just kind of pumps the shoulder up, and they leave it expanded for a while just to stretch the leather, and it's just fantastic. That whole setup, I wish I could record videos of all these things in the paddock, but you're not allowed to. With Dorna and the media pass that I get, you're not allowed videoing anything. But I'm glad I can tell you about it. So that's what happened. So Darren's boots were all mucked. They look terrible, but no need to pull out new boots, because Darren, most of the riders like to wear boots. They like to wear the same boots more often because they're loose and they just feel more comfortable. So gave them a good wipe down. The biggest problem now, MotoGP with these days, is because from the outside, I was the same. You think these guys get new leathers every race or every session, new gloves, new helmet, new boots. And it's not the case. They get, I think Darren got an allocation of 8 boots for the year. He gets, 6 suits. If he needs more, obviously he will. He gets, 4 helmets. If he needs more, he can. But that is kind of their traveling kit that goes from race to race with him. And the T6 boots, I've even tried them. When you put them on originally, they're a little bit stiff. You got to bend them in a bit, but when they've gone through that run-in phase, they're perfect. But what's happening now is, with the level of MotoGP now, the guys are on the peg so much net that the undersole, and T6 is probably the best boot on the market with undersole, because it's like a Michelin sole technology, and it's amazing. But they put so much pressure on the pegs that they wear through the soles. They every second race meeting, they're having to change boots or rotate boots just to keep them in line. So yeah, that's a little bit of info behind there on the wear. And like Brad will wear not old gloves, but gloves that he's had one or two crashes with, a little bit of scuff. Same with Darren, because they're just comfortable. Same with the leathers. You'll see they've been patched up in places, but they're just comfortable. So it's not this case of, yes, they're so lucky they get new suits every time they go out and that. And even Darren's helmet, his wet helmet with a clear visor, it's like he had a couple of crashes, a couple of little scrapes and whatever. And then he's got his fresh one that he wears with a dark visor. He's got his first choices, and then he's got his backups. So yeah, that's how it works in the background. But yeah, I did. I cleaned those boots properly. Got the scrubbing brush out, gave it a good scrub, gave it an air hose, put them in the sun. Sharpshooter. That's what I'm there for, to make the man's life a little bit easier. And I love it. Love the fact that I can just be part of the success that Darren's having. And it feels great that I can be a part of that and help him as much as I possibly can. So yeah, let's see. I'm definitely going to Catalonia this weekend, so I'll be Robuccio once again. Robuccio fanboy and journalist once again. And then after that, Assen and Sachsenring is still a question mark. I'm not too sure. Hey, Rob, do you know if Darren is staying in MotoGP, Superfly Gaming? Yeah, we've spoken about this. I know they are working at it. I think there is talks between him and the new RNF Aprilia team for next year. And others potentially, but I can tell you now they are working extremely hard to keep Darren in MotoGP next year. That is for sure. Okay, so a lot of Mark Marquez going on there. You guys are having your own conversation there. I think I've touched upon Mark as much as I can. Top Rack going to MotoGP, Ace of Spades. I can't. I don't know. He's doing this test with Yamaha, which ultimately means nothing because there is no space for him. But I don't know. Top Rack's whole persona, his whole attitude, I don't think will fit into MotoGP. I think MotoGP will break him. I think MotoGP will take away what makes Top Rack so good. And, it's his personality, his bubbly personality, handstands on bikes, endos, stoppies, stand-up wheelies, slides. MotoGP, you can't do that. MotoGP bike must not be ridden sideways. It must be ridden in a straight line. Brad had to adapt to that. Coming from Moto2, where Brad was sliding it, squaring the corners up, and he could put the bike where he wanted, to this MotoGP bike that's now very much, one directional. And that's why Brad goes better on used tires, because as soon as the tires start losing that bit of grip and the bike moves a bit more, that's when Brad's actually the most in control. It's like when the bike's on new tires, it's almost like it takes a bit of control out of him and the bike, because again, it's just that fighting effect of this rigid package with these grippy tires. It's not working. As soon as that kind of loosens up and it almost turns into more of a production based kind of feel, Brad is just able to do what he wants with that bike. I had a perfect spot, the Mugello race, coming down the front straight on the inside as they came over that crest every lap. And I can tell you now, that is the best motorcycle sight I've seen. I go to every race and I do these shows and I say it's the best sight I've ever seen in my life. That was the best sight I've ever seen in my life. Those bikes coming past you at 350 plus Ks an hour over that bump, getting all squiggly. As they come over that bump, you just hear that of the traction control and whatever else kicking in. And then they climb on the brakes and just that seamless box. There's none of this bum, bum, bum. None of that. It's just this, and you hear the engine braking kind of get them in. And most of the riders get a little bit sideways, like you give it a little whip and then square it in. Brad, the last couple of laps, comes in there and just floats this bike into the corner and puts it in where he wants. And then Darren, the last couple of laps, was doing the same, just floats that motorbike into there. It's spectacular to watch all those riders going through there. It really is. Like, you talk about Alex Marquez is not MotoGP worthy, this guy, and then you watch them out on track and you go, these guys are just on another level. They are just sensational. By the way, Darren, not many of us, or I don't know anyone, saw where he got Frankie Morbidelli. I didn't. Asked him. So he said, because as he came across the line to start the last lap, he was about 3 or 4 bike lengths behind Franco. And I said to Clint Porchito, who was watching with me, I said, there's no ways Darren's going to sit behind this guy. There is no ways in hell Darren is going to sit behind Franco Morbidelli on that factory Yamaha with 1 lap. He is going for it. And he said he went into the final turn, carried as much speed as he could, and he just brought it underneath, got the drive, and just dragged Frankie to the line, used that speed and that power. that is Darren, but and beat him to 16th. That's how he pulled it off. So awesome, absolutely awesome too. It was awesome just to see Darren smiling and bubbly, and like I said, he looked more confident with the team. He looked more confident with himself. It was just this better aura, and it all started on the Friday. It started on the Thursday. In fact, he came into this weekend looking much better than I'd seen him. I'd missed Lamar, but much better than I'd seen him in previous races. So, yeah, let's just hope that this can carry on, and I think it will. I think we're going to have a great Catalonia this weekend. I will be there to support him, Brad, as much as I possibly can again. Let's have a look at some questions. Raul will be on a Aprilia or Honda. Yeah, you're right. Marco, he could very well be. Stephen Berry, rumor Martin to factory Honda instead of Mir. Martin to Honda. Yeah, look, it could happen. I didn't see that, but Martin could be, peeved that he hasn't got the factory ride, which looks like it's going to go to Bastianini, and he's maybe giving Ducati the middle finger for a factory Honda seat as opposed to still a factory Ducati seat with Pramac, but not the factory seat. So yeah, it could. Stephen, as Hindi SA says, yeah, silly season is the craziest. This silly season is the craziest ever, and it really is. It changes from race weekend to race weekend. You go to a race weekend and there's a new rumor and there's a new thing, and you just can't rule out any of these rumors because it's anything's possible. Anything is possible. Like Sven Grun says that I don't know if Repsol Honda would want a Martin with a crash ball he's bringing in at the moment. Don't know what's happened to Martin. Apparently, Martin is suffering with also some kind of nerve damage or something in his arm where he just doesn't have full control. Don't know if it's his right or left, where he just doesn't have full control, and that's hitting his confidence. Riding these bikes at the level like Pecco winning and that, you've got to be 110%. There can't be anything. It's not like Lorenzo back in the day when he crashed at Assen on the Friday, went to hospital, had his shoulder plated, came back and finished seventh. MotoGP's at a whole new level to that. You can't race anything less than 110%. You're just not going to compete for the at the front. It's just not going to happen. And that is why Mark has just said, I can't do this. Martin could be potentially missing a bit of time or waiting for this break to come. Now that Finland's cancelled, they've got a 5-week break, waiting for that to potentially sort out whatever injury he's got. So let's see what happens with Marc Marquez. Maybe he just takes these next couple of races off, Catalonia, Assen, Sachsenring, and then has the 5-week break and, feels that that's enough. Maybe he could come back after that. So yeah, let's have a look there. I want to be at the party when Brad and Miller hit podium. We will all have a dop poisoning. Oh, well, Ray Handy, I agree with you. I think it'll be a great atmosphere. Brad and Jack get along really well. I think it'll be a great atmosphere. Brad and Miguel get along very well, but I think just Miguel, like I said, I just think he switched off to the KTM project. I don't think he's fully committed there. He's still committed out on track because he's got to keep himself in the shop window, but I just don't think he trusts in or he believes in the project as much anymore at KTM as he used to. I think he's given it his all. He's 4 years in now. He's got a year more than Brad, and he's just thinking, okay, well, especially with some other seats available, now's my chance to go. Or maybe KTM have in a way, KTM have kind of forced him out. I mean, KTM pretty much announced the Jack Miller deal this weekend, saying that if Miguel wants to stay, we've got a spot for him in Tech 3. Clearly saying that someone's coming to replace him in the factory team, and I can't see Rins working in that KTM setup. I can't see that happening. Can't see Mir, can't see Martin, can't see Paul Espargaro going back, can't see Alex Marquez, can't see Darren, can't see Aaron Canet, can't see Arbolino, can't see Vietti. So, I mean, and Jack Miller doesn't have a ride, so it kind of makes sense. So, yeah, I think Miller will be on factory KTM and Miguel is a question mark. People talking about Iker Lecuona being the perfect example of KTM and rushing riders and making decisions and all that kind of nonsense. And it has. KTM have got a big year ahead, big decisions to make for next year. They really do, because the decisions they made for this year just haven't worked out. The Pedro Acosta thing in Moto2 is now coming to fruition, but I think he needs to stay in Moto2 another year, give him a full good shot, and then bring the the full-blown, full-ready Pedro Acosta to MotoGP in 2024, hopefully on a much better working KTM package. Rob, are you heading to Isle of Man at all? No, not heading to Isle of Man at all, sadly. Got Catalonia this weekend, and then, yeah, listen, there's only so much budget I have. I'm lucky now with the team from Pole Position. They very kindly put me up with accommodation with their guests and stuff. That makes it able for me to go to more races, and then I just help out with the emceeing and stuff at the events. And it was awesome. It's nice to have a good chuckle and tell some stories, and people ask questions. We're going to try and get riders. We had Sean Dillon Kelly and Riche at this one in Mugello on the Friday. So, you hear great things, and yeah, it's great to be part of that whole thing. But yeah, Isle of Man is, yeah, I don't have budget for that, sadly, Stephen. So I'll be watching it on the TV or on live streaming on Facebook as most of us will, unfortunately. Brad won't leave KTM. Yeah, I don't think he will. Rob, suggest you have a 12-hourly poop or scoop till everyone's signed up for next year. Yeah, Hindi, I have to. I've got to do a poop and scoop tomorrow morning first thing, and then I've got another like 3 ready and waiting. I've just got to film them and shoot them out. It's just happening all too much. Like you said, it's like I don't even have time to do the paddock talk every night because I rush back from the track, and I've got to get to a strong Wi-Fi to do it, and then find the time to record it, and then it's already late and the time zone difference, and then I have to sleep sometime and wake up early and then go do the track thing, and then you're exhausted by the end of the day because you've walked 14 Ks, and then you got to it's a lot, but I'm enjoying it. It's a lot mentally and physically, I must say. Traveling, running from the airport and that today, it's hard, but yeah, it's awesome to be able to do it. And I'm just making hay while the sun shines, and while I've got the opportunity, because who knows how long it could potentially last for. So let's see. Yeah, Rogan Taylor, poetry in motion it is. And then you smell that race fuel burning, you smell the rubber burning, you smell the discs overheating, and that smell just amplifies every single lap they pass. And the sound, like you watch them and you try and follow them with your eyes, and you actually get a headache because your eyes can't keep up with the speed, and then the sound, and it rattles your brain, and your body can't compute what's happening when especially when you watch that close. I'm lucky that with the service road pass with media, you right close to the action. I could literally hang over, put my arm out, and I'd probably touch them. So when you're that close, it's you do. I got to take 2 Panados after watching a MotoGP race from the side of the track, because you just got a headache, your eyes hurt, your neck hurts, you're from whiplash. Hey, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible to watch MotoGP, and especially Mugello. Mugello, a lot of guys told me, James Dents told me, Clint Portkita, a lot of people have told me Mugello is the one. It wasn't as amplified as years gone by with 120,000 spectators on the embankment, and that was certainly a lot less. It was still full, and the yellow flares and that were out, but certainly a sign of the times, with the ticket prices and people obviously just struggling, and no Rossi racing was another reason maybe why. But yeah, it certainly wasn't the Mugello of years gone by, but it was still absolutely epic. Starsky Williams, Rob, any paddock talk about how the riders feel about the wings on the bikes? Saw some riders having negative feedback about it. So there's yes and no's from the riders. Apparently Sylvain Gintley, the Suzuki test rider, went and did a whole test day testing the Suzuki current motor Suzuki GP bike without the wings, and he just came in and he said this thing's unrideable. It is absolutely unrideable. And then Brad, with his one wing that fell off at Le Mans, just said it was like steering a pick and pay trolley, the dodgy one with a dodgy wheel that wants to go that way when you're trying to go that way. So yeah, they say. I kind of think of it and I go, well, you're overloading the front, and the front tires are overheating, and this and this. Surely it's just too much downforce on the front. Top Rack wins World Superbikes, with no wings. I do see the pros and cons of it, but it very much is a 50-50 split. Some riders saying it's overloading and it's too much. Other riders saying, no, we can't ride the bikes without it. So yeah, it's a 50-50 split. And I don't know. We're going to talk to Simon Crayfar in the summer break. We'll do a proper in-depth talk with Simon and hear what he has to say with everything that's going on in MotoGP now. I love that shoulder cam that Pecco had this weekend, but it just shows you every time. It's thumb back brake. It's deactivating the ride out. It's activating the ride out. It's changing your map. it's so much more than just brake, throttle, and gears. It's incredible what those riders go through. So is it all too much? Is it take the wings off, go back to old school and just make it work? Is it not safe to do that now because of what the riders are used to and the Michelin tires, N? So yeah, there's a lot to take into it, rather than just take the wings off. And I still said to Brad at Lamar when he was battling on the Friday and the Saturday, I still messaged Court's measurement said his wings gone, and I still said I wish he would just try it without the wings. And she even said it would just become unrideable. The riders just say it will just become unrideable. So yeah, I don't think that's an option for now. But yeah, let's see. Like I said, anything is possible with MotoGP these days. Clyde Matthews, Uncle Rob, do you think this weekend will suit Darren more, or similar to Mugello? I think Catalunya will suit Darren, kind of like this Mugello. There are some hard braking areas there. There's no doubt about that, and that's where Darren's struggling the most at the moment, is under hard braking and getting the bike in. And I think it proved it now with Mugello that these rookies aren't scared of speed. It's not speed that they're adapting to. It's that hard braking, that the hard braking, steering the bike in under that hard braking and getting the bike settled. That is the biggest thing. But Catalunya, I think will suit Darren because it's got the fast flowy sections as well. So I think Darren's going to do really well. I think the Yamaha will work well there as well, even though it's not the best package to be on now. I think it will work quite well there. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be there. I've never been to Catalunya. I'm only getting there Friday afternoon at about 1 o'clock, which is a pity, but that was the cheapest flight I could get in. But I'll still get to experience it. So I absolutely cannot wait, and I'll just bring you as much information as I possibly can. Again, like I said, I brought a massive bag home from this weekend. I've got some signed Bastianini caps. I've got some awesome new signed Brad caps from the official Ixon caps that they sell at the track now. So a nice style there, a little bit different to what gets sold at home. Looks a bit more paddock kind of official. It's got the logo underneath, signature on the side, just a real proper rider's cap. Looks really nice. Got a signed Mark Marquez cap, which is nice. Got a couple of signed Rossi caps, which was cool. Took advantage while he was there, no doubt about that. Got a pair of Darren Binder gloves, brand new pair of Revit gloves that Revit and Darren kindly gave to me because they were made just too big for him, so he's never been able to wear them. So brand new Darren Binder kind of, you'll see it all come online auction on the Motor Rider World page. So keep a lookout for that coming. We just did the Bastianini cap. Now I haven't had time to upload the next product. I'll put that out tomorrow. That'll be the Scott Redding gloves that I got from World Superbikes. The signed Scott Redding Ixon gloves straight off his hands from World Superbike Race 2 at Estoril. Took them off, signed them, gave them to me. So I'll be putting those up for auction now, and again available to SA and UK fans. So keep a lookout on the Motor Rider World page for some awesome auction items. But yeah, looking at the rest of the weekend, Pecco Bagnaia, fantastic job. He said he needs to be more mature in those kind of situations where he's controlling the race. He buckled under the pressure at Lamar, but yeah, Pecco, we know he can do that. Pecco and the Ducati are the fastest and best package on that grid at the moment. There's just these chinks in the armor, like at Lamar and a couple of other races where he's prone to crash. If Pecco can pull this kind of Pecco more often, then he's the champion all day long. Bastianini proved that there's chinks in his armor. He crashed out again. He's done it a couple of times this year. So the most consistent are Fabio Quartararo, who just pulls off this massive effort again to finish second at Mugello with on a Yamaha that shouldn't be there. Fabio is he's just a machine. And I can tell you, I saw a lot more riders or a lot more fans wearing Quartararo merch around. People, the big question is now is who's going to replace those yellow t-shirts in the crowds. Who's going to replace Rossi? Mark Marquez was, but then isn't. There's still a lot of Mark Marquez around, but with the question mark around him, MotoGP have lost Rossi and Marquez in many ways this year. So it's been a huge dent to them. But Quartararo seems to be a good one because every time he made a pass, even when he was passing Bezzecchi or an Italian rider, the crowd went. The crowd cheered everything Fabio did. So I think Fabio is kind of the the most supported MotoGP rider at the moment. I don't think anyone will be on the level of Rossi and sell that much merch and just be the god that is Rossi in MotoGP. But Fabio is certainly a very well-loved character. And seeing him in the paddock, he's an amazing guy. He rides around, he stops, he does the photo thing, he smiles, he engages with his fans, he's very accommodating. He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. Is Fabio Quartararo. So yeah, he's getting the job done. While Pecco and Bastianini and these guys are crashing and whatever, Fabio, when he shouldn't be, is just getting results, getting results, getting results. So, despite it being the worst bike on the grid, and we need this and this, potentially going to win the world championship again. And that's why I can understand why Yamaha is saying, well, Fabio, what are you complaining about? You're winning races and you're leading the championship. And I think Fabio's complaint is, yes, but I'm having to work, past the point of I shouldn't. I'm really pushing the limits a bit more than I actually want to push the limits here. I think that's his main argument. Whereas on a Ducati, he'll climb on and he could probably ride at 90% of what he's riding now and get better positions and results. So, but anyway, Fabio was fantastic. The crowds are loving him. I'm loving him more and more that I see him on and off track. And I think he's going to be hard to beat in this championship. His biggest rival, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, do not adjust your TV sets or your laptops or your cell phones, whatever you're watching off here, is Aleix Espargaro and Aprilia. Every race, we say, yeah, okay, but next race they won't be there. Yeah, okay, but next race they won't be there. What's that? 3 or 4 in a row now on the podium, picked up a win, just always there. Aleix and Aprilia are doing fantastic things, and you can't count them out now. There's no reason why Aleix can't win this championship. It'll love him or hate him. It'll be fantastic for MotoGP if Aleix and Aprilia go win this championship. I've got a love-hate relationship with Aleix. I love the fact that his family's there. He's this great dad. He's this great family man. He plays with him in the pits. He's this awesome guy. But then he has these little outbursts where you think, you idiot. But I caught him at the right time. I got 2 official Ixon Aleix Espargaro caps as well. And I got him outside his motorhome. And I thought, oh, God, this guy's not very... I've seen him not be accommodating once or twice. Luckily, it was after a good session, so he was up there. So he was like, "Hey, sure, no problem. How's it going? Cool." Had like a little mini conversation and got 2 signed caps. So that was awesome. But then there's this other side to Aleix where he throws his toys out the cot and everyone's an idiot and, no one deserves and, blah, blah, blah. But so, yeah, love-hate relationship. But he's there and he's doing a fantastic job. Hats off, Aprilia and Aleix Espargaro. And then, like I said, Rins' championship charges with Suzuki. Let's quickly delve into Suzuki. I said it when they made the announcement. It's going to be hard to keep the motivation, the passion, the drive to keep going, knowing that you have no jobs. The project is going, and it's starting to kind of show. Rins crashing out at Le Mans again. Mir was crashing out again. Rock up to Mugello. Both riders crashing out again, and Mir does not crash. He won his world title because he is Mr. Consistent, and the Suzuki works on the Michelin tires. Crashed out again, 2 DNFs in a row. Rins faded again, so they are out of this championship already. And that's just piling on the pressure and piling on even more reason not to stay motivated. Their minds are elsewhere, put it that way. And that MotoGP, again, I've said it, you've got to be at 110%. Not just the rider, but the mechanic, everything has got to work at 110%. And if it's not, this is what happens. So I feel sorry for Suzuki in a way. My poop and scoop tomorrow morning, so I'm not going to delve into it too much now, but look out for my poop and scoop tomorrow morning, is that BMW are a serious contender to take over those 2 spots in MotoGP. Dorna have come out and said they don't want to rush it. They'd rather wait. But from what I heard, we could very well be seeing BMW in the paddock next year. So keep a lookout for that poop and scoop. Some very insightful stuff there that could happen. It's not 100% cast in stone, but there were mumbles about it in the paddock this weekend. So keep a lookout for that and some other little rumors and just the general poop and scoop stuff. I think outside Mark, Fabio, and Miguel may have the most fans right now. Certainly Miguel. Miguel's got a huge fan base. There's no doubt about it. Anea Bastianini, great point, Clyde Matthews. Anea Bastianini, I left this weekend going, I want to sign up for the Bastianini fan club because his shirts and his caps, they've just released the official stuff now on that GP apparel, merchandise, whatever that site, and they had stuff for sale there, and I bought the caps and stuff. But there were a couple of guys wearing that "Push Like a Bastard" T-shirt. It's limited edition. It's available on his website now for I think €25, and then you pay €13 postage or something. And I'm like, but there's such high demand, you might have to wait a couple of weeks to get it, because I wanted to get one this week, get him to sign it this weekend. So I'm definitely going to try and get one, because that's cool. Push like a bastard. Love it. So Anaya Bastianini, I saw a lot of Anaya Bastianini fans out there. I'm an Anaya Bastianini fan, also very accommodating. When you ask him to sign, I asked him to sign caps and then still hold them up, and he does, and had a little bit of, it's not a full-blown conversation, but it's a little bit, so how are you feeling? And yeah, good. We must make one or two changes. The crashing must stop. Good luck. Cheers. So Anaya is also, his stock is rising. There's no doubt about that. Brad, I saw a lot of Brad. There were a lot of South Africans there, even with the pole position travel. There were 4 South Africans within that group. Then I met another South African on the main grandstand, Megan, Jacques' beautiful daughter. Met her, got her flag signed and some stuff signed for her. I saw a couple of other South Africans in the paddock with South African flags. I saw a couple of, now that they're selling Brad Binder merchandise at the track, in the Ixon truck, I saw a lot of guys with shirts, hoodies, and caps on. So yeah, Brad's also loved. Whenever Brad comes out of his motorhome and rides through the paddock, kids, and it's a lot of kids stop Brad and Darren wanting their autograph. So they like the more modern day MotoGP fan compared to the old school are still waiting for the Rossi and the Marquez. Still a lot of older people wanting to meet and take photos with Brad and Darren. So yeah, Brad's got a really good fan base. Darren's also got a fantastic fan base because of the hair and the surfer boy dude and the Moto3 to MotoGP doing phenomenal things. And there's a lot, but will they ever be on the Rossi level? I don't think so. And it's not just that, it's also what Rossi did with his merchandise company. I mean, it is. Every time I go to the race, I see the same Rossi merch, but I can't help myself wanting to buy stuff. I don't, because budget and, when will I really wear it? But you're like just drawn in by it. You just want to buy one of everything. And it's the same with the Fabio stuff. And like I said, with the Bastianini stuff now. I did go a little bit crazy in the Ixon truck, I must be honest. I bought like 4 or 5 of those Brad caps. I'm definitely keeping one. And then the rest I will get signed and send back to South Africa. Well, I'm going to put them up for auction and see who wants and where they're going to go, UK or South Africa. I've got Clint Portkita, hopefully, that can take some stuff back for me after Mugello next weekend, after Catalonia next weekend. So, yeah, if some of those auctions this week leading up to then go to someone in South Africa, then we can pop it in the bag and send it. So keep a lookout on the Motor Rider World Facebook page. We've got some really cool things going up for auction there. Dick Crosby, Rob, do you think that KTM will eventually get their chassis to work with the Michelin rubber, and will they dial in some more power for the top end they had last year? That's all that's missing. Their biggest problem is the Michelin tires. Like I said, it's just rigid, unforgiving, fighting against rigid, unforgiving. That is, and the guy who wins MotoGP again this year, or wins every race, is the guy that can make the most out of the Michelin front tire. I mean, Fabio was running the hard Michelin front this weekend, and even Darren was like, the medium just is folding, under these fast corners, it's just folding. It just doesn't have the support. And Fabio preferred the hard. Fabio tried the hard first and then relayed message to the Yamaha riders that the hard is the better option. And Darren tried it, and it looked like a good option. So it really is a case of, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I do think, Michelin can't go now make a tire to suit KTM. That's just not going to happen. They've got to make a more generic tire that suits all of them. But I do think it's a bit of both. I think Michelin have got to improve their tires. There's no doubt about that. Make them more consistent, make them more forgiving in many ways. And KTM have to do the same. Make their bike more forgiving, more consistent. So it's a two-way street, that one, Dick. It's a hard one to answer because, yeah, certainly the KTM just doesn't like whatever Michelin are doing. They just don't like it. Like I said, when the tires are used and worn, that's when the KTM works the best. But by then it's too late. You've lost all the time to the bikes and the riders, or the riders and the bikes on Michelins that are getting the best out of them when they're brand new. That's why the Marinis and the Bezzeckis and the Bastianinis and the DJ Antonios are up there, because those Ducatis are just able to get the best out of those Michelins when they're brand new, when all the grip's there. Take that grip away and they start, coming back. And it's not a case of Brad just maintains. Brad maintains while the others slow. Brad just is able to do the same lap time just about at the end as he's doing at the beginning. And that's frustrating because at the beginning you should have half a second, 0.7 of a second in the bag on new tires. And they just can't get that out of the KTMs at the moment. So that's the biggest frustration at the moment. There's going to be Uncle Rob fans in the MotoGP. I'm betting on that. Clyde Matthews. Yeah, I should get Uncle Rob shirts made. Like a funny face or something. It's a very nice thing to say, Clyde. Thank you so much. It is awesome. I must say, going into the paddock now, and you have more and more people saying, how's it to you? Paolo Giabatti, Silvio Dovi's manager, Razlan, Wilco, Darren's whole team. It's not this unfamiliar face now. It's, hey, Rob, how's it? Hey, how's it going? How's the family? How's the daughter? How's the wife? When are the kids and the wife coming to England? How's it sleeping on the couch with your mom? Kind of, they all know the stories. So that's awesome. And it's awesome to see, hey, looking forward to hearing your paddock talk tonight. I'm looking forward to Monday night to hear what you have to say. I'm doing a couple more speaks, not only for pole position, but I'm going to be in the Cressini hospitality this weekend doing a talk with, I forget what it's called, but it's Pacino GP. He's like the top journo when it comes, and I feel terrible that I actually don't know him. I probably do know him, but I don't know. It's Pecchio GP or something. He's this top Italian journalist that's been in the paddock for 27 years. So I'm going to be doing a talk with him. So I can't wait for that. Going to try and record that and see if we can put it out, because it's just going to be absolutely awesome to hear and be involved with that. So yeah, excited about that. Do you think Lynn is going to boycott Razlan now, Ray Hendy? Yeah, I think Lynn's nose is out of joint, because who says no to Yamaha? And kudos to Razlan. It must have been a big decision to make for Razlan, to make that call. But big up to him. You take your hat off to him, because yeah, damn right. Look after yourself. They don't want to look after you, then bugger it. Where will the auctions be, Rob? New to this channel. So Vanna, if you go onto our Facebook page, we do a picture post of the item. We put the details on there, and then it's open for bid. We normally do it for about 2 days. So we open it for 2 days, and then it's literally the highest bidder wins. After those 2 days, we announce the highest bidder, and then we load the next product. So go to the Motor Rider World Facebook page, and you'll see it all there. I'll be putting up the Scott Redding gloves tomorrow. We've just done the Naya Bashirini cap. And then, like I said, I've got a Lacia Spargo cap. I've got a Rossi cap. I've got a Marquez cap. I've got a Brad Binder cap. I've got a With You Yamaha cap signed by Darren and Dovi. I got Daz gloves. I've got a lot of cool things, and hopefully get some more this weekend as well. So yeah, keep a lookout for that. Vanna, just need to make some Brad and Kota. Thank you. Manuel Pacino, Jonathan Borg, saving me Spanish, one of the best insiders. That's him. Manuel Pacino. I hope I'm saying that right. But yeah, that is him, Manuel. I know him as Manuel, and it's Pacino GP on Facebook and that. So yeah, I'm going to be meeting and hanging out with him this weekend, and the Cressini box, doing a live chat to the Cressini guests in their hospitality. Hopefully, thank you to Richard Smith from Cressini for helping me. He like I said, he was my Uber this weekend. I shared a room with him. He donated some items for the auction that we did on the Friday night for the pole position guests, towards Nova, and knowing Nova, my daughter's kind of fund. So yeah, can't thank Richard Smith and the Cressini team enough for also supporting, and obviously Darren and Razlan and the With You RNF Yamaha team for accommodating me so well as well. Just wide open arms now when I get into the pit box, into the hospitality. They really just do treat me as one of their own, and it's awesome. I cannot thank them enough. Yeah, Pacino is a straight shooter. He is. Well, Richard just told me all about it. I've never really followed him, if I'm being completely honest. But he apparently he's got a strict rule that he makes no friends with the rider. He has acquaintances with the riders, but he doesn't get into like real friendly relationships with them, because he knows sometimes he's going to have to write badly about them or write gossip. So he doesn't have that personal relationship with the riders, so that he can be honest. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to chat to him. I'll definitely try and record as much of that as possible and put it out. And if I can't, we'll talk about it on Talking MotoGP. No doubt about that. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Talking MotoGP. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Vishnu Akari, would be great to see videos of you in the pit lane with different teams. Current TV coverage is disappointing, and we don't get to see the teams in pit lane. I assume that videos are not allowed. Yeah, Vishnu, that's the frustrating part. Especially with my media pass, Dorna own all the rights to any video content within that paddock. So even when fans take videos of, them walking down the paddock or on the side of the track of bikes coming past, it's actually not allowed. Dorna own the video rights. So from my side as a journalist, I sneak one or two in, like the BAG 250 Grand Prix bike revving that I've put on our YouTube and our Facebook. And stuff. But other than that, I can't. I would love to film me walking, and I could make such an awesome kind of weekend review video of how it starts on the Thursday and ends on the Sunday. And I did that little one for Darren that he posted up on the Wednesday where we rocked up at the track and stuff. So, try and look at Darren's social media. I'm going to be just kind of sending him stuff and promote that a little bit more, maybe with a bit more behind the scenes stuff, but also hands are tied there a little bit. But yeah, it's frustrating because I'd love to take you guys in the pit box with me, show you how it works, show you how I take his helmet to Arai, how Arai prep the helmets. They got all the Arai riders there, Vignale's helmets, Iagura's, and then go take his leathers to the Revit truck, show you how that works, because it's literally a truck trailer that opens up to the top. It's a double story truck. All the riders' suits, leathers, gloves, and knee sliders are there. They put the leathers into like a cooling bay that cools the leathers and dries up the sweat. And then, like I said, if they crash, they can cut that panel out, replace that panel, replace the badges. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes that I'd love to show you, but sadly we can't because of. And I don't think me doing that would take you. Everyone would still watch the racing on TV. This is just an added bonus. But yeah, they want everyone to subscribe to the video pass and to watch it with video rights and stuff. In a way, you can understand, but yeah, it is a little bit frustrating because, I've said from day one, I would love, love, love every single one of you to be able to experience MotoGP the way I have been able to. And, by doing these talks and my paddock talk on Facebook, I try and give as much of that experience as I possibly can. And we'll continue to do that for as long as I possibly can. So, yeah. Let's see now. Thank you, everyone, for the support. I did a post on the Motor Rider World Facebook page today. In the month of May, our Facebook page reached 1 million people, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Our YouTube channel is growing by the day. Our content is growing. Our fan base is growing. It's, like I said, a year and a bit ago, we started out, I left my comfort zone and, I started Motor Rider World, this tiny little South African motorcycle media company. And it's got to where it is now, and it's just growing. And it's down to all you guys and girls for all the support, for liking, sharing, subscribing. Without you, I would just be a hairy South African journalist fan talking to himself on YouTube and Facebook. So big thank you to you all. I'm going to go have a bath now. My mom's made me supper. I'm going to have supper, and then I'm going to climb into our couch bed with my mom once again. She laughs here on the couch. So thank you, everyone, for the support. Again, thank you for tuning in, and stay tuned for Catalonia this weekend. I will be there. Stay tuned to the Motor Rider World Facebook page for more great content, not only MotoGP related, but my brother doing a fantastic job with the team from Beam Productions in South Africa, getting amazing content there. He really has just stepped up to the plate. Has younger Sean Portman, beautiful test on the new Yamaha R7 and the Aprilia RS660, Kawasaki Z1000 SX. So yeah, we are covering all avenues. So look out for all that video content coming out and our digital magazine coming out soon. I've delayed it a little bit till after the Catalonia weekend, so I can get my Mugello and Catalonia experience in there. And then you can read all about it if you subscribe to the digital magazine. Otherwise, like I said, we'll put out the video reviews on the R7, the Z1000, and all those other beautiful motorbikes that we've got to test. Thank you, guys and girls. Have a great week. Nothing but health, wealth, and happiness to you all. And I will catch up with you at Catalonia this weekend. Cheers.